If you're a business owner, you don't need us to tell you running a business is tough. Don't let QuickBooks and spreadsheets slow you down anymore. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you the visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Join the over 21,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/C-suite. netsuite.com/C-suite.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and I'm here with the homie Kevin.
Good evening, guys. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to just go ahead and jump into it and share the subject for tonight. Guys, we're talking about one of my favorites. We're talking about Unbreakable, the movie.
Yeah, not the musical.
What the shit? Is there a musical?
No.
What? Okay. That would have been news to me. I'd be like, oh, Unbreakable, the musical. Just imagining Bruce Willis on stage. Well, Bruce Willis did sing, actually, for a very short time in his career. Did you know that?
Did not.
Yeah, he went over and sang for the troops and everything, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, no joke. But I couldn't imagine Unbreakable as a musical. I don't see Samuel L. Jackson beefing out them notes, man.
You never know.
You never know. I'd like to see that now that we're talking about it.
That would be great. Oh no, I am falling down the stairs. I just broke my legs.
Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Put the gun away, my son. Yeah. That's the line. That's the song.
That's it. That's it. Oh man, that's great. You know, we need to move on because I could just sit here and think of different lines.
Right? We're gonna be like 30 minutes into this podcast writing a musical. Like, wait, what about third act, scene 3?
Right.
All right, guys, we're Josh.
Yeah, the final scene that would just be like this entire. It'd be just like one of the greatest musical songs ever.
Exactly. We'd have Hans Zimmerman and John Williams writing it together, directing the shit out of it. You know, it'd be amazing.
Oh shit.
Well, it's not like the movie didn't have a great score because it really did.
Had a really great score. Yeah. Transitioning into that, the score was actually done by James Newton Howard's.
Okay.
Yeah, and it had a tremendous score. And it really was an unforgettable score also. Like, it's one of those scores where you hear it and you immediately know where it's from. But let's go ahead and get into this.
Heck yeah, man.
Unbreakable was released November 22nd in the year 2000, so almost 18 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is actually now referred to the first of the Easter Rail 177 trilogy.
I saw that actually. I read that in an article earlier. I also read, and you know, guys, don't let this sound like a biased podcast here, but that this is actually one of Time Magazine's top 10 superhero movies ever.
Yeah.
And I concur.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. And, you know, I think that this is one of the movies that when people think about superhero movies, this one gets slept on or gets swept under the rug. Either for one or two reasons. Either because people haven't seen the movie for whatever reason, or B, because they don't classify this as a superhero movie, but it totally is. It's just a superhero movie that's in its own lane. It's even described as a superhero thriller. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many superhero thrillers there are out there, but this one is probably the first and definitely the best.
Oh yeah, I mean this one has a cult following for a reason.
Yeah.
Plus, that's okay. If you do have those feelings about this movie, or if for some reason you've heard about it and you just haven't made the time to watch it, that's okay too. Right. This time last year, I was on that boat. I've never even thought about watching the movie. I've heard about it, but it's like, oh man, that's from year 2000, man. I'm not gonna go that far back. What are you talking about, bruh? There's too many new things. Yeah, I know, but I finally watched it, and it was jaw-dropping, and it was eye-opening, and it was a beautiful experience, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time.
Hell yeah, man. And cheers to that.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. But, so the way that I wanted to go through this podcast here, I wanted to first, like, kind of break down like the opening two scenes, and then from there, I actually wanted to switch gears a bit and kind of go into like the character analysis and kind of talk about the two origins that we have here.
Yeah. Okay.
So the very first thing that we see here in this movie is we see Elijah Prince. He's just been born, and of course Elijah is being played by Samuel L. Jackson. Not the baby though, just some random baby. He was actually born in a Philadelphia department store in 1961. So it's in the back of this department store where we see baby Elijah Prince being born, and he's being held in his mother's arm, and the baby is crying furiously. And in walks a doctor, and the doctor says that the ambulance should be here shortly. He looks at the baby, examines the baby, and then he takes the baby into his arms, and he goes, "Did someone drop this baby?" And I guess one of the workers there at the department store goes, No one dropped the baby." And he goes, "Both this baby's arms and legs are broken." And when he says it, even before he says it, he has this horrified look on his face, like he can't believe what happened to this baby. And he goes,
it's a really tense scene because it's a slow build up to this moment. And just like, what the hell?
Yeah. And the mother, her face goes from smiling in tears of joy to tears of sadness and fear for her baby. So that was a really intense opening scene that we got there, and I thought it was a really great scene because, the first time watching this movie, when you see this scene, you really don't know what to make of it. You just know that this poor baby has damaged limbs. And then immediately the movie shifts gears and we go to present day, and we see Bruce Willis, the character that he's portraying is David Dunn, and David is sitting on a train. He's sitting at the window seat, and right in front of him, playing around in between the seats, is this little girl, this little, maybe, 4 or 5 year old kid. And he kind of smiles and waves at her. And next to him is an attractive sports journalist that we come to find out. She comes and sits next to him, and as soon as she sits down, he takes off his wedding ring. And he tries to make, small talk with the woman. So he's talking with her, and, he discovers that she's a sports journalist, and he goes, "So you looking to hire any male synchronized swimmers?" Trying to get a laugh out of her. And she chuckles a bit, and he goes, "Actually, I'm afraid of water. Can there be a problem?" And in the moment of the movie, it's easy to think that that's just a throwaway line.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I thought my first time watching it. Like, oh, look at him spitting some game.
Yeah. But there's actually a lot of depth behind that line that he says there.
Oh, yeah. Which we'll come to find out later.
Right, yeah. And she says that, no, she's actually here looking at a college football star. I think he's college. Looking to go pro, 6'1", I think it's like 220 pounds, from the 40 and like 4.0 or something like that. And she goes, "He's a beast." And then she asks him if he likes football. And he goes, "No, I don't care for it." Which was another interesting line because as we find out later on, he
very much cared for it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, if I can just press a quick pause right here. I don't have a note to add to any of that. You're doing a great job. I do, however, want to make a comment to the listeners now. Go ahead and press pause if you haven't watched the movie yet. You need to watch the movie through the lens of one who's never experienced it. If you've never watched it before.
Right.
Yeah.
Like for most of our movie reviews, it really doesn't matter too much if you haven't seen the movie. There's things that would be spoiled for you, but this movie in particular, you absolutely need to watch before you listen to this particular podcast. Spoilers will abound all over the place.
And it will definitely...
it'll interfere with your viewing.
Right. Well said. Yeah. It won't ruin the movie, but it will definitely take some of the dramatic power of it from you.
Yeah. Think about any of M. Night Shyamalan's really good movies, and then think about if someone told you that Bruce Willis was dead at the at the end of Signs, you find he was dead. If someone told you that going into the movie, that would change the way you look at the movie.
Wait, he was dead, bro?
Okay, I just spoiled a 20-year-old movie for somebody.
Nah, you good.
Yeah. But yeah, so the same kind of thing applies here. And of course, like we said earlier, the reason that we're reviewing this movie is for a couple of reasons. One, because it's a damn good movie, but also because even though it doesn't fall underneath the comic book category that we usually oblige by, this is, however, a superhero movie. It's a superhero thriller, and it's a really good one. So we're really, testing the waters here, seeing how you guys like it. Hopefully you do.
I mean, you homies do deserve to hear about the best movies, and this is one of the best.
This is definitely one of the best. And also we figure we give you guys a little break from the MCU on these Wednesday nights here. Yep. But was there anything else before we move on?
No, that was exactly it. I just wanted to give them time to pause.
Yeah.
And now resume.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. So we were talking about how he was trying to spit some game here to the sports journalist, and
Indeed.
and
he even slid that ring off.
Yeah, he slid his wedding ring off and put it into his pocket.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, and that right there also says a lot. That says a mouthful about our character. And they're talking, and then it gets to the point where he asked her, "So how long are you gonna be in Philadelphia?" And it's at that moment where she really kind of hits the brakes, and she's like, "Oh, I'm actually married. I'm sorry." And David, he goes, "Oh, no, you thought I meant no, I didn't mean that." When he totally meant that,
Right, yeah. Like, how do you come back from, throwing that card out?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me pick that back up.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she promptly gets up and she goes, "I'm gonna find another seat." And and I'm like, damn, that's awkward.
Charisma failed.
Yeah, charisma check failed, bro. You need to put some more points in charisma. For real. Put some points in speech. Okay, get that speech craft up.
Yeah.
Like if this was Skyrim, your speech craft or your persuasion was like maybe a 2.
Exactly. Like whatever the default number was at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. You never added any points to it.
Exactly.
Obviously, all your points went into like strength and durability. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yo.
And then all of a sudden, as she leaves, he kind of sits back and thinking, well, shit. I think he even slips his ring back into his finger at this point.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And he looks out the window and he realizes that the train is starting to accelerate some, and the other passengers begin to notice it as well. That the train is definitely speeding up, and then it speeds up even more, and then it gets kind of wobbly on the tracks. You can see on the rails. And then from there, it actually goes to seeing his son, Joseph, on the couch, channel surfing, goes from like MTV to Powerpuff Girls to something else, and then to the news. And there's just big-ass, ginormic train wreck going on here. And by the way, like, this is how you make a movie on a low budget and do something really grand. This is how you do it. Because the movie didn't have that high of a budget. I think it wasn't even $100 million. It was way less than that.
But it killed in profits made.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think it made close to. It made over 3 times the amount that they cost to make the movie.
M. Night Shyamalan's like, yeah, I can afford to ruin a kid's cartoon.
Yeah. But so David sees that there's a train crash on TV, and he's like, "Oh, I wonder if that's the one that my dad's on." And,
oh yeah, I remember that. And then he like saw the announcement of which train it was, and went to go look at like the note on the fridge.
Right. Yeah, and it was Easter Rail 177, and we move on here to see that we see David in the ER now, and there's a doctor checking on him, asking him a bunch of questions and looking at him really strangely. And the doctor's asking, "So where were you sitting when the train wrecked? Did you ever get up? Did you move? Which car were you in? The front car or the passenger car?" And he's answering all these questions, feeling a little befuddled because he's not really sure what's happening here. Right. And then he goes, "Well, where are the other passengers at?" And the doctor replies, "Well, the reason that I'm looking at you so oddly is because you and this guy over here were the only 2 surviving passengers." And as you can see, this man, that guy was fucked up, basically.
Exactly. That dude was not going to make it.
Yeah, the other passenger who survived, in quotes, was really fucked up.
Yeah.
And the doctor says, "And I believe that any moment now he's going to die while you don't even have a broken bone." And so, yeah, that's a really, whoa, shit moment.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, at that point, it's like you thank your lucky stars for whatever magical karma ticket you picked up, you know?
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Kevin, real quick.
Let's go into it. I was ready for this.
If you're in David's shoes, how would you feel being in something like that and coming out of it without a scratch?
Okay, I'm gonna be straight honest right now, because I feel like with the power of this microphone and the confidence of us having done this for some time now, I feel like I can peel away the socially safe answers and just get straight to the core.
Yeah.
I would be happy as shit. Okay. I would be happy that I'm the one that made it. I'd be happy that I'm the one that, wait, did I catch a lucky break? Did I finally get something going good? Like, not just good, but perfect?
Yeah.
And I didn't get harmed. I didn't scratch. I didn't even bleed, for all I freaking know. And I get to go home and see my family.
Right.
The only part that would make that hard for me is the fact that I would continue living day after day from this moment on, knowing that the family members, the brothers, the wives, the husbands, everyone else I was expecting, their significant other, their important person on this train to come off like I did, that they're never going to see that person. And that I was the sole survivor for all intents and purposes. Summarizing, that dude did die.
Yeah.
I was the sole survivor of this tragedy.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting like a long-term backlash for that. You know, I maybe so, maybe not so. I can't tell. Who knows? But I know that walk out of the hospital, that night in my own bed, that morning waking up, and then the next few days following are going to be the worst. Yeah. Just because I know so many people are going to look at me and be like, why the hell did you deserve to live? Who said you get to walk out of this when my wife, my brother, my so-and-so didn't? Yeah.
There'd be a lot of people who would be unjustly upset at you for being the one to live, and you know, they'd be questioning everything in situations like that. And you know, like you said, it was awkward for David as he was walking out of the hospital with his family, and then all the people there waiting on their family members to come out that never would. You know, they see David and they're like, whoa, not only is this guy leaving, but look at him, he's fine,
he's walking, he's not even having the courtesy wheelchair push out, you know? And that's the thing. I mean, if I can make this joke real quick, I would never have suspected. I would have been in Dave's shoes, essentially. I would have never said to myself, well, maybe this is a sign that I'm a superpowered person of some kind. I would have said, guys, I'm going to take you all out to dinner. Honey, we're going to fix this marriage. All right, this is some shit, and we're going to fix it and polish it. And to everyone else, no comment. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just a really shitty situation. I mean, it's a great situation for yourself because you know, you're the lone survivor,
and that's what I meant when I first said that. Because who wouldn't be grateful that they got to live unharmed, unchanged, really physically unchanged from this huge incident, this huge wreck.
Yeah, absolutely. So those were the really first two scenes of the movie, and so now I want to kind of take a step back here and approach this from a different perspective, different from our other movie reviews. So now I want to talk about David Dunn and Elijah Prince a little bit here. So we talked a little bit already about Elijah, about baby Elijah, how he was born in 1961 in the back of a department store in Philadelphia, which Philadelphia is where the movie takes place at, by the way. So in a later scene in the movie, we see a flashback with Elijah, and he's sitting inside his home, looked like it was maybe an apartment, and he's kind of moping. You know, he looks really sad, really down. He has a sling on his arm. You can assume that his arm is broken, and his mother comes in and she goes, "What are you sitting around moping around for? Why don't you go play outside?" And he goes, "I don't want to play outside. I don't want to play with other children. When I go to school, they call me Mr. Glass because I break like glass." And his mother goes, "Well, I have a present for you outside." And he goes, "Why?" She goes, "Don't worry about the why. Just if you want it, it's right out here." And then she points to the present she has for him. It's sitting outside on a bench in the playground park. And David goes, "Well, someone could steal it." And she goes, "Well, you better get down there quick."
Smart mom.
Yeah, very smart mom.
Oh yeah, very much so.
And so they go outside, and he goes to the park bench. He sits down on it, and he opens up this purple present. Purple was a really prominent color for Elijah throughout this movie. He opens up the box, and there's a comic book in it. It's not an actual comic book in reality, but
right. It was some fabricated one.
Yeah, but for the sake of the movie, it is a comic book, and they actually used the name, I think, Action Comics. Yeah. But then they was like, but then they didn't bother to put like any actual superhero names underneath it. It was just Action Comics, and there's a hero and a villain on the cover. It didn't say the name of the hero, but one of the subtitles read something along the lines of who can stop the Jaguar or something like that. It's called The Battle with the Jaguar.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Oh,
and then as he's inspecting the comic book, you can tell he's intrigued by it. His mother leans down and says, I thought you'd like it. This is supposed to be a really rare one, a really big issue. She goes, I have more for you. If you keep coming out here, I'll continue to give you one. And then she says, this one has a surprise ending. And, I can't help but look at that line and think about it in a deeper meaning, Yeah. Because obviously, like, the movie runs deep, and I think that even for the most astute people, the ending catches them by surprise.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So I always kind of view the line. It's like a wink and a nod from M. Night. And I really like that.
That's actually a really clever point because how many directors can stealthily and successfully make it can't be a call back. What do you call that? A call forward? A call out.
A call out
to their own movie's ending. Yeah. Because you're right. Whenever I first saw that scene, that's not exactly the premise I got at all. It was more curiosity, whereas I was like, oh, okay, I wonder when they're going to explain that. Cause super damn good.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Yeah.
So Elijah, he has a disease called osteogenesis imperfecta.
Well said.
Thank you.
I was wondering how you do on that. Bravo. Yeah.
It also helps rewatching the movie and hearing Sam Jackson say
pause.
It.
Back 10 seconds. Say it. Pause. Back 10 seconds.
Yep.
That's great. Like, I respect that.
Osteogenesis. Nope, that's not it. Let me try again. Yeah. Oh shit.
Yep.
It's basically just it's a disease where he has extremely fragile bones. His body doesn't absorb protein the way that most people do. And so because of that, there's 4 stages of it. He has stage 1, so he considers himself a lucky one. He goes stage 4. People usually don't make it that far. So these comic books really helped Elijah cope. It really gave him another world to explore because the world that he was born into was seemingly really cruel to him. He had a lot to deal with, probably a lot of teasing as to what it sounds like. The kids at school call him Mr. Glass because he breaks like glass. So, and also the fact that he really does break like glass is no easy thing to deal with in life.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the cast becomes your body, and it's like, well, shit, I lost that one, but I got the same one and a new one. So
well, one really cool thing, important thing that I forgot to mention that he and his mother talk about was as she's trying to coax him to go outside, she talks about fear and how he can't let this fear be the thing that controls him. Yeah. She mentions how, you could fall between the couch and the TV and that could be it. You might as well go outside and try your best to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he does. And so, he, we don't get much of his childhood, but that scene is enough to really give us a glimpse at the kind of thing that he went through and the kind of childhood that he had, which is really sad. It's pretty tragic.
Yeah.
It's a really shitty thing to have. But yeah, so these comics really influence him.
Right.
Which as a superhero homies, that touches home with us.
Exactly. Yeah. Although it definitely touched home with him because not only did it inspire him to give him a new foothold in life, but as we see later on in the movie, he became a very prominent and very powerful artist.
Yeah. Well, he was a comic art dealer.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a really cool thing to be, because like if there was a comic art dealer in my local area, I would be in there like every paycheck looking at shit that I can't afford.
Right.
Being like,
who's this guy? I don't care.
Like, oh, so you mean you got the original sketchwork of Alex Ross on Justice League Kingdom Come? Oh shit, how much is this? Okay, yeah, $28,000. I thought so, but
that's true. Yeah, and he's making bank.
Yeah, how much will $112.16 get me?
He gives you a bookmark, like a little pre-printed bookmark. Here you go, sir. Oh,
yeah. Oh shit. But yeah, so he does have a comic art store. It's called Limited Edition, which I think is a really cool name.
Right.
And yeah, so it's there where he, as an adult now, he runs this comic. Well, it's not a comic book store; it's a comic art store, where picture like your normal art museum where you can purchase the art that you see. It's the same thing, but in comic form. And I really love how he breaks down and analyzes like a lot of these pictures and a lot of the artwork. Because I mean, shit, a superhero homies, that's something that we do a lot is analyze and break down.
Yeah.
And so to see him do it with a picture was really cool to see. And he actually does it with a sketch of the first comic that his mother gave him, of the superhero versus the Jaguar.
Yeah.
But let's take a break right here and switch over to David Dunn for a bit. Unless you have something else to say about
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Although I will say real quick that I loved the first scene we see in the art gallery when the rich man, who obviously is packing some heavy money, is willing to buy this super expensive piece of art and says, "This will look great in my child's room." And then all of a sudden, Samuel Jackson's like, "Hold up, I'm not having any of that."
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Where is this going? It's not for sale.
Yeah.
This is an art gallery, my friend. And this is a piece of art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This doesn't belong in some 4-year-old's room. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Super powerful. And, oh, man. Okay, but yeah, David Dunn, what's going on?
Yeah. So with David Dunn, we also get more flashbacks of his life, more so than we do Elijah Price's. But so real quick, one thing about David and his origin or his beginning as a child is that we know we learn later on in the movie that as a young child, David actually almost drowned. He fell in a pool of water and he was down there for about 5 minutes. And when they pulled him out, he was dead. But after some time, they were able to resuscitate him. And it's actually because of him that they changed the rules at like the school pool area.
Yeah.
And so he, the opening line when he's on the train talking to this sports journalist, it really does ring true when he says, "I'm afraid of water." Would that be a good reason?
Yeah.
Yeah, being, technically dead from drowning, it would be a logical reason to be afraid of something.
No, for certain. I mean, and it was just a great call out that they did there,
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just basically, hey, here's my character sheet, but you don't know you're reading it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah. And so we also know that he was a star college football player, that he was a straight-up badass football player.
Yeah.
Really good on the field. And he started dating this young woman named Audrey.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Now, not that it truly deeply matters in the retrospective of the story.
Right.
But was... Okay, so the young man that the reporter in the very beginning, in the first train scene that we're getting with David Dunn, the
woman, yeah.
Right. The young man that she's coming to see, he had a better record than that kid even, correct? That's what I'm thinking. I thought I remember hearing that in the movie. I don't recall. Not that it truly matters, though. I was
maybe so. It could have been like something subtle, but
right.
It could have been in there, but I don't recall it.
I don't recall it either. I mean, if so, it definitely emphasized like how much of a powerhouse this dude was. You know,
I want to say that you're right, but I can't think of the moment where it happened.
Those football players, man, they were dying hard. I'm so sorry.
Yep,
I am sorry for that one. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm done.
So moving on here. They were around 20 years old, according to the credits here.
Okay.
And so David and Audrey, they were in the car and there was a car wreck. We don't see a whole lot about the wreck. We really see the aftermath. But for the sake of the story, for where we are right now, according to both Audrey and David, what happened was when the car wrecked, a trucker pulled over and he was able to save them both. That's the official story as to what happened. And David had a shoulder injury and could no longer play because of it. His future wife at the time, his future wife never liked football because of the violence and the injuries. She went on to be a physical therapist, so that kind of explains that.
Right, for sure.
And so he pulled back from his college football career because of his shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And because of that, he and his wife were able to get married. And
wedding bells.
Yeah, wedding bells and all that. Mm-hmm.
Right here, real quick, I just want to sing the swan song, which is going to be sung all daggum night about this movie. But this is just another carefully laid out, calculated part of the movie that Shyamalan and the rest of the staff were so damn good at giving to us, because you have no idea why the hell this wreck is so significant, or why the hell the drowning swimming pool thing is so significant when we first hear about them. Yeah. They're just little details.
Yeah, because I remember way back when, my first watch of the movie, when, I learned about him almost drowning, or when he continues to reference the car wreck, I thought that there were things just to humanize him, and also just to show that, no, he's not unbreakable,
right?
But he is, in fact, a normal man who was in a freak accident, and he had a miracle, and that miracle allowed him to live. He's really not this character that, as we are going to discuss shortly, Elijah thinks him to be.
Right. Yeah. But that's the thing this movie did so dadgum powerfully.
It walks a tightrope. Yes. It walks a fine line.
Yes, and because they did it so well, it painted this beautiful image at the end of the movie for us, where it's like, oh, now I finally see the whole puzzle piece. We're not just working on this small scrappling in the corner, and all of a sudden this small little thing over here by the pool side or some bullshit. No, you see the whole image, and it's so well done.
Yeah.
But no, that's a plane.
Okay, yeah. I thought my phone was going off. It's a goddamn plane outside. They're coming to get us. Coming to nuke us finally.
Oh, well, I'm going to hide under the table.
That'll save us.
Mm-hmm. For all you know, I'm unbreakable.
Yeah. So I have down here really quick before we get into the rest of the analysis here of the broad strokes of the movie. A couple questions I have down here is that they're both struggling with something. Both of these characters, both of our main characters, Elijah and David, they're both struggling. David, his struggle is really trying, and here's the thing, from my perspective, both their struggles are one and the same.
Yep.
They're both struggling to find purpose and meaning.
Yeah, identity.
Yeah. Because I was theorizing here on the couch earlier tonight. I was thinking, what caused he and Audrey, what caused their marriage to really be on the rocks? I was thinking about that.
Okay.
And because, even though, on the surface level, that doesn't seem like an important question, what's important is that we know that they are estranged and that their marriage isn't working out the way that they wanted it to. But when I thought about it, it's maybe it's because he made a sacrifice. He made a sacrifice for his family, hoping that, that maybe football wasn't the answer, and that he and his wife can be together and have his family. But now I think that maybe that isn't what he wants. Maybe he's bored with life. Yeah. As we're going to discuss later on, it's even, he even says that he wakes up in the morning sometimes and he's just sad, and that he does his job and he comes home, but it isn't really the life I think that he wants. And I think that his sadness, I think that it comes out, and then I think that maybe his wife looks at that and thinks, well, you're not happy with me or your family.
Right. She tries to put an answer to it.
Right? Yeah. And that's just my theory. I think that maybe that sadness had a lot to do with it. That search had a lot to do with it.
I definitely understand that. Was that your question you just answered yourself? Or?
Yeah, I want to know what your thoughts are.
Oh, okay. Thank you. No, you summarized it very well. Like you said, that's a question that through the entirety of the movie, you're just kind of like, okay, that's the fact, that's the setup, that's the plot right now. Cool, awesome, and you don't really question as to why until you've had more experience with the movie for sure.
Yeah.
And no, that's a beautifully well put point. I mean, that's a tragedy that a lot of guys and gals face out there today. You know, where it's like you wake up and you're sad, and it's like, oh shit, I guess I had these expectations, but then you look outside of them, and it's like, oh, this is what I have. Yeah. And that's totally relatable, you know? So, I surmise you're getting to a good point,
Well, let me ask you this also. What about Elijah? What do you think, where do you think his lack of happiness comes from in his life?
I think that might be better saved till the end of our podcast, whenever we talk more in depth about his monologue, because I think the answer is in his monologue.
Yeah.
Because he says it to us as listeners, to David in the room, that, and I'll just summarize it a little bit so I'm not, giving away the whole ending of our podcast.
Well, but I'll go ahead and say that at this point in the movie, my personal thoughts were Elijah is really, he's trying to find good in the world, is my thoughts at this point in the movie, because he's grown up, suffering a lot, because of his physical ailments, and, because of his disease, because of cruelty from children and from others.
Right, he's seen a lot of suffering.
Yeah, he's seen a lot of suffering, and he's found solace in, of course, his comic books. He really loves to read them. He really loves to analyze them. And I think that maybe he's just trying to find some good in the world, someone or something that shows that there's extraordinarily good, because he himself feels like he's suffered extraordinarily bad. So I think that he's just trying to find light.
Yeah. I think at this point in the movie, and underlining that right there, that is a very accurate thing that we can summarize from his character, from what we're given.
Yeah.
Now, I think that changes as we see the end of the movie, and I'll gladly share my thought then and hold off onto it for now. But no, you're right. That right at this moment, it's like, okay, so that's pretty justifiable. Cool. So it seems like he's a trustworthy dude. Seems like he's giving us his honest intent right there.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, I do also think that because of his upbringing, his personality, him being really brash at times.
Right.
Like with the first customer we see in this art store.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his mom was kind of brash with him. Like, nah, you go outside and get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Shout out to Philadelphia moms.
Yeah. I do have another question here, but remind me to come back to this one at the close to the end of the podcast here.
Okay.
Yep. So, just to preference, there were 132 passengers on the train. 131 died. And the next scene that we get here, moving on with the movie, is we see David. He's going to the memorial service for all those who lost their lives in the train accident.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how that make him feel also, being there and seeing and hearing all those names being called out, all those people there.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be hard too,
Yeah.
And that it's hard for him to find solace, I'd imagine, because his work, he's a security guard, by the way. His work isn't satisfying. His marriage life is the drizzling shits, and being at this memorial service is probably also bumming him out.
Oh, for sure. It's not the fact that he doesn't really know any of these people. That debatably the only name he might remember is the reporters.
Right.
But it's more just, a lot of bad happened here, and I'm the only...
Yeah. Well, once again, remember at the very beginning of the movie here, we talked about the little girl that he was looking at, he was kind of playing around with it. He realized that little girl is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's just a really hard thing. But I think it's all those things that leads to this, not really irrational decision, but leads to this almost desperate decision that he makes next. So he leaves the memorial service, and on the windshield of his car is a letter from Elijah.
Super clever letter, by the way. He wasn't blunt, or he wasn't writing out a too easy of a point to dissect. Right. He wrote out a damn good question.
Yeah. What was the question?
How many sick days have you taken?
Oh, yeah, that was the question. Yeah. And, that was a good enough question for him to go into work and to ask the secretary, how many sick days have I taken? And she goes, to my knowledge, nope, you haven't taken any in the past 5 years. And the word gets out to his boss that David hasn't taken any sick days, and his boss thinks that David's just making a clever ploy to get a raise. So his boss is like, another $40 a week. That's all I give you. And
which is pretty awesome and clever. Like, guys, write this down, and then don't take your sick days for 5 years.
See, that's the problem, though. I've been in my job for coming up on 8 years now, and I've been sure to take as many sick days as I can.
For sure. Wait, you said you had today off. Was today a sick day for you, or did
no,
you just get it off?
Yeah, I just got it off.
Oh, hell yeah, go you. Yeah. Okay.
But
rock out.
Yeah, I'm sure to take like all my sick days. And here's the thing: I'm only sick. Shit, I hope that no one from work listens to this. I'm only sick.
Are you sure you want to say it now? You can still skip.
What I was going to say was that I desperately need all my sick days because I need to get well when I get sick. Period.
What the shit? All right, let me put these back on.
Oh, moving on. By the way, please be sure to support the podcast because this may become like my sole source of any type of income after this podcast is released.
You get a phone call from your boss. So, Quentin, I was going to surprise you, but I listened to the cast. Oh, shit.
Did you like it? Which one did you listen to? Don't say Unbreakable. Don't say Unbreakable. I listened to Unbreakable.
Oh, shit.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, so moving on here. It's at this point that David realizes that he really hasn't taken any sick days. In 5 years, he hasn't been sick. So he and his son Joseph, they go to the art store, limited edition, to pay Elijah a visit. Elijah at first blows them off, saying that the art exhibit is in 2 weeks. You're early. And David goes, "No, you left this windshield on my car." And Elijah goes, "Oh no, you left this message on my. You put this windshield on my car.
This whole damn windshield.
Yeah.
It's not even the windshield for my car.
Yeah.
It's like an 18-wheeler windshield.
Yeah. I don't know why you put this here, but I was coming to find out.
He used it as a paperweight to hold the note down. Oh, shit, man, that was loud. Yeah. Was that your end or me? Damn.
I don't know
whatever that was.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
David says, "You put this letter on my car, not a windshield." And so at this point, these guys have a conversation. It's pretty candid and it's pretty funny. So it's at this point here where Elijah, he says that that comics are the last link to an ancient way of passing down history. And he goes, we've seen it in other forms, in the forms of hieroglyphics or cave drawings. And he says that comics are another way of doing it. But over time, it got jazzed up and commercialized, with fancy colors and over-exaggerated powers and abilities. But he goes, "I truly believe that this is just, that when you strip it down, it's just another way to show, to pass down history, to show about things that actually may have happened. And abilities that people may have actually had, and I think that you may possibly possess, some of these abilities." And so at the point where David says to Joseph, "Don't drink the water, put that down, throw it away."
Yeah. Well, I mean, listening to Mr. Glass here as an audience member watching the movie, to simply say it, he had a logical explanation for an out there idea, Yeah. I
mean, like when I don't want to cut you off, but I guess when you think about it, it's like you do have a point, but it's a point that a lot of people don't think about.
Right.
I mean, you really have to be open-minded to listen to that point. And I guess me being such a comic lover was like, yeah, I see that. I get it.
Well, no, I totally got it too. Yeah. Like listening to it, I was sitting there thinking like, well, shit, that actually makes me hopeful.
Yeah.
But no, the point I was getting at is that most of the time, in my experience actually, whenever you listen to someone, you can tell the craziness or the wavering mentality of this individual if their summary is illogical, out there, unexplained.
Right.
This one was still a very logical, well said, and sound description that he said. You know, the whole hieroglyphic history, thus all of a sudden I'm becoming this over-dramatized, overpowered thing today.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I see that. And then your idea is the only thing that sounds crazy. Chances are, especially in the movie, that's not that crazy.
Yeah. And I think what really throws David off and makes him think that Elijah is another crazy man. And well, he doesn't just think that he's crazy. Things like he's a scam artist. He goes, this is the part where you ask my credit card and blah, blah, blah.
Right,
you know? But I think the thing that maybe really throws David off and maybe thinks that Elijah is crazy is the fact that Elijah, he sits there so stone-faced and saying everything like it's 100% certainty. You know, like, I think that this and this and this and this and this. You know, like, I'm like preaching it like it's just the absolute truth. And, you know, like, perhaps if he had said it with a little hint of skepticism, you know, like, you know, so, I mean, the way I look at it, you know, there's a theory that maybe there's a chance that, you know, like, presenting it like a scientist of sorts would, you know, with a source of skepticism, you know. But no, the way he presented it, I think also threw him off.
Right, like, there is no more theory, there's no more science testing idea, there's no more going through with the hypothesis bullshit. He's just like, no, this is done, there's no time to test it.
Right.
Yeah. I can see that,
But it's also in this scene here where he being David explains to Elijah how when he was in college, he was in a car wreck, he injured his shoulder, and so it's at that point where Elijah's like, oh well, shit, maybe you're not. But I think Elijah also knew that there was something that David wasn't telling him.
Right.
So moving on here, like the next big scene that we get is we're at David's job. He's a security guard for a stadium, football stadium, and at the security guard here, he gets a call on the radio saying that there's someone here, you know, looking for him, and of course, it's none other than Elijah.
At this point, he's got that slick glass cane, right?
Yeah, he's got that cool ass glass cane and all that, and he's there and he's talking with Dave, and he goes, don't you think it's interesting that out of all the jobs you could have chosen, you know, 1 out of 10,000 jobs, you chosen to be a protector. And, you know, David, he's just like, look, it's a job, man.
Right,
you know?
I mean, to us common folk, that's like a flattering way of saying I'm a security guard.
And so the two are walking, and David says to another security guard, hey, start checking the guys here in the line. And it's at this point where Elijah goes, why did you do that? You know, do you think that somebody's going to start some trouble? And David goes, well, you know, sometimes some guys get a little drunk and they have their guns with them. And when the team is losing, you know, things could get a little crazy. And he goes, sometimes I just get, you know, a feeling about it. And I think that he points to like this guy wearing camo, white guy wearing camo. And he goes, Elijah goes, well, what do you think the guy has on him? And he goes, I think that I don't know, I just got an image of like a silver gun with a black grip. And that's about it. So David at that point says, look, I got to go and enjoy your tickets. I got you some actual tickets. The ones you got from from like the guy on the street, they're not good.
Right, yeah.
They're in the nosebleeds, but you won't get spit on. Enjoy your life, Elijah. Which is, you know, that's what I'm saying. Look, I don't want to see you again.
Right.
Like, if you don't get that,
then, like, here's a parting gift because I'm trying to be kind. Get the hell out.
Right. And so it's at that point where Elijah, he actually gets back into his car, and we see the inside of his car is all almost bubble wrapped. There's like this bubbly inlay for his seats and his dash. I don't know who his upholstery man is, but did a damn good job.
He's got a custom one. But dude, that's just a great extra detail to help solidify the power of this character's power in general. As a fictional idea being brought to a connected real idea. Oh, it's so good, man.
And it's more fat here. Give me a second. Here we go.
What you got?
So Elijah, when David says that.
Oh no, I'm just like looking at all your notes.
when
oh shit, you wrote down a lot more than usual tonight. Yeah.
No, I was writing down like 3 or 4 pages.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've never seen your pages before.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, that's right. We always hide our notebooks from each other. Yeah.
But yeah, Elijah, he says to David before they part ways that he thinks that David has extrasensory perception, is what he calls it. Yeah. So
Cool.
that's a really fancy way of saying I get intuitions that are really specific.
Right. Like really cool and accurate intuitions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as Elijah is about to drive off, because he don't want to stay for the damn game, he came there for David.
Yeah. He didn't care about a game he could ever.
Yeah. He also, before he and David part ways, though, he also asked David if anyone else is in the car wreck, and David says, "Yeah, Audrey, my future wife," and that's where they depart ways. But right before Elijah is about to leave the stadium, he looks in his rearview mirror and he sees the guy that hopped out of line that David initially thought may have had a gun on him, and so Elijah he's on the pursuit. He's going after him.
Yep.
Cane
with that cane
in hand.
Like...
Yep. He starts limping really fast, trying to catch up with the guy. Saying, "Excuse me, sir." The guy's obviously at this point ignoring Elijah and trying to get away from him. So the guy picks up his pace and starts running down a flight of stairs leading to the subway. And so at this point, where me as a viewer, every time I watch this, I always say, "Be careful, man."
I know, right? Like what's gonna happen, but it's like, no, dude, don't.
Like,
come on, don't screw with that, man.
Yeah. Like you gotta let it go, man. Don't worry about this. Like, but Elijah, he chases the man down the stairs, and the man, like I said, he's running down the stairs, and Elijah is trying to keep up with him, but he really can't, and he's rushing down the stairs, and I feel so bad every time I see this scene, man.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart every time. It doesn't break my heart as much as Elijah gets broken here. But yeah, Elijah, he loses his grip on the guardrail, and he slips, his cane shatters, and so do his legs as he falls down these flight of concrete stairs.
It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just fall down. He literally rolls some too.
Yeah, he tumbles down these stairs, and you can kind of hear the cracks and the breaks as he falls. It's nasty, but as he lays there upside down, though, he looks up and he sees the guy he was chasing wearing the camo, and the guy hops over the terminal where you're supposed to put your money or swap your Metro card, and as he hops over the terminal, Elijah's able to see that the guy does indeed have a silver gun with a black grip. So yeah.
Can you imagine real quick with me? Let's step outside the realm of the movie and outside the podcast, and just imagine for a second Samuel Jackson on the set about to shoot this scene, and he's looking at Shyamalan. Shyamalan just finished telling him what he had to do, and he's just like, "So I get health benefits, right? Because I really don't want to actually break my legs doing this, man." Yeah. Just like, so wait, you want me to fall down the stairs? No. You have to roll. You have to tumble. You have to make it look like you're breaking your shit.
Yeah. Well, there were stuntmen in the movie, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Yep. Damn it.
I ruined your joke.
You did. I just imagine Samuel Jackson like rolling down the stairs. Cut. We gotta do it again. The camera wasn't rolling.
Here's how I know for a fact Sam Jackson did not go down those stairs.
What's up?
Because even in Avengers, it was Avengers 2 where he said to Joss Whedon, "Look, don't put a lot of running in my scenes. I don't want to do no damn running."
I love that. Yeah, and he's got enough power, and Joss Whedon's like, "Yes, sir. Would you like the water with that? Are you good? Are you comfortable? We'll change the air for you." Damn.
Yep,
that makes me so happy.
Which is what all of Nick Fury's scene is really just him, he walking in the scene out of nowhere.
I remember him like trotting a little bit. Like looked like he was about to run.
Right, like a brisk walk.
And you're just like, okay. That makes a lot of sense now. I'm never gonna watch another one of these movies and think anything like, oh, dadgummit. So great.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, so one scene I forgot to mention that takes place right before this whole stadium scene is another scene with David and his wife Audrey. And, they live in the same home with their son. David is trying to get a job up in New York. That's why he was on the train in the first place to interview. He and his wife, they live in the same home. They don't sleep in the same bed or in the same bedroom. But in this scene here in particular, Audrey she knocks on David's door, and they have a pretty candid conversation. You know, she asks David, "Have you, since we've been, you know, split like this, have you been have you been with anyone? Have you slept with anyone?" And David goes, "No," which technically is the truth. He hasn't. He may have tried, but
he may have tried, but failed attempt still count as a no.
Right? Yeah. He in fact did not sleep with anyone. And at this point, she starts crying, and I think maybe it was the train accident. The fact that she almost lost her husband, even though they were going through some things, I think maybe it jarred something in her.
Yeah.
And you know, she begins to cry, and she says, "I want to give us another try." And David's like, "Yeah, okay." a little bit more emotional than that.
I was about to say, like, I could just imagine Bruce Willis. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, it is Bruce Willis, so it's not that much deeper, but it is deeper than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on here. So one of the next scenes that we get is the scene where Elijah, he's going through physical therapy. And guess who is his physical therapist? It's none other than Audrey, David's wife. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Elijah starts asking Audrey, you know, all these questions, you know, like, so, and they get a little personal, you know, saying, so what made you want to be a physical therapist? And, you know, she explains that she never liked, you know, violence, and, you know, she wanted to help people. And he goes, and somehow he gets her to talk about David and about the car wreck.
Yeah.
And,
well, I can't remember. How did he find out she was who she was?
It was at the football scene. I mean, the stadium scene. One of the last things that David and Elijah said were Elijah asked David, was there anyone else in the car when you wrecked?
Well, no, literally, how did he find out that this nurse in particular was Audrey?
We don't get that.
No?
I'd assume he
Okay.
probably asked.
Well,
I assume he probably asked for Audrey.
excuse me, is your name Audrey? No? Get the hell out.
Yeah, I don't want you. Go get Audrey.
I don't need you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, what's your name? Audrey? Okay, what's your last name?
Done? Good.
Okay, you can stay.
You can stay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. He actually does a pretty good job here keeping things on the cover until like the end of the conversation. He accidentally name drops David, and Audrey goes, you know, who told you my husband's name was David? And so yeah. And then like the next part is off scene, it's off camera, but and the part that we don't see in the movie is he explains to her his whole theory about David. And of course, when she gets home and all that, you know, it's after dinner. Bruce Willis and her, they're washing dishes, and she's telling him that, hey, I ran into your friend of yours, Elijah Price, and he's like, yeah, you know, he's this guy, and this at this point where Joseph comes in the kitchen with a gun, and the parents both quietly freak out.
Yeah.
And David's like, it's okay. He doesn't know where to keep the bullets. Click, click. I know where you keep them, Dad. You keep them in the drawer. Shit.
Exactly. At that moment, it's like, what the?
Yeah. And of course, Audrey's like, what are you doing, Joseph? And Joseph's like, it's okay, Dad won't get hurt. I know he won't. It'll just bounce off of him. He won't get hurt. And, you know, like in this point, if you're the father of this child, I don't know what the hell you do.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, what the hell would you do in this situation? Like, how do you calm this kid down who's so like mentally into this idea?
Right.
Like, he's just
fascinated.
Convinced.
Yeah, he's fascinated with the whole concept that his dad could be a superhero. I mean, what kid wouldn't?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. He's so faithfully confident in it that he knew two things. He knew water was wet and his dad was bulletproof. And he's going to test that second one out, man. You know? I mean...
Yeah, he's like, I just washed my hands. I know for a fact that water is wet. And I'm about to test this other theory. But yeah, it's interesting, though, the way that David calms him down. He goes, you know what, Joseph, you're right. If you shoot me, that bullet's going to bounce right off my chest, and it's not going to hurt me at all. But then I'm going to go upstairs, I'm going to pack my bags, and I'm going to move to New York. And Joseph, he's thinking, why? Why would you do that, Dad? And David goes, because friends don't shoot friends. Isn't that right, Audrey? And then she frantically says, that's right, Joseph, friends don't shoot friends. And it's at that point where Joseph, he puts down the gun. He doesn't put down the gun because he doesn't put it down because he doesn't want to hurt his dad. He puts down the gun because he doesn't want his dad to leave.
Right, yeah.
And then David immediately grabs the gun and takes the bullets out. And then all three of them kind of sink down in a corner, you know, decompressing from this situation that just happened.
It's a heavy situation.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell would you do if your child pointed a gun at you and said, "Hey, don't worry, you'll be fine"?
Seriously.
It was like that not crazed, but that just naive look in his eye where it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like, are you serious? And like, start with something smaller. Like,
exactly. Get the BB gun.
Yeah. Like, shoot me in the back of the head when I'm least suspecting it with the BB gun.
Exactly.
You know?
BB.
Yeah.
Actually, not even that. Let me know what's coming so I'm not pissed at you afterwards.
Right. Damn it!
Did you just shoot me with a BB gun? Give me that. Go to your room.
Damn gun. Oh shit! But yeah, that was a really heavy scene there, and is that scene that really convinces him to go see Elijah again, and he's like, "Look, we can't do this anymore. Like, I don't want you contacting me or my family ever again." And so yeah, that was the thing that happened.
Yeah.
But next, we got the scene where Elijah goes to the comic store, and he's just kind of sitting there. He's moping because he's thinking that
so well done.
Yeah,
dude.
He's sitting in the back of the comic store, and the guy who's running the shop, he can't really see Elijah. He's like, "Come on, man, I'm closing up really soon here. What are you doing, man? Are you jacking up to the Japanese comics?" He said it like it's a common thing that happens.
Right, like, what the hell? I remember hearing that laughing on the couch.
Yeah.
Like, what? Has this happened more than once?
I guess so. I think about it like this. There's a lot of really nasty, creepy people in the world. A lot of real sick pervs. And in the year 2000 is when the internet was just beginning to blossom, but not quite there. So if you wanted to look at porn on, like, you know, your computer, you know, good luck, I guess. You know, good luck. But you know, hey, I know if I go to the comic book store down the street, they got this I guess this hentai section.
Yeah,
or something.
I guess so. Yeah,
and I can go there. I don't want to pay for it because I don't have any money, but I can go in the back of the store. You know, spank the monkey and then be on my way.
Can't believe you just said "spank the monkey" for our podcast.
Yeah, damn. That means masturbate.
It does mean masturbate.
That means when one does the process of jacking off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not ashamed to say jacking off.
That means like he was slapping his salami. I can use all kind of metaphors.
Oh yeah, no, I was just surprised that was the first one you went to.
Yeah. Because I feel like we said jacking off before.
Yeah, we said it.
I wanted to say a different term. Yeah.
Colorful masturbation.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and then there's that moment where the comic owner realizes that, oh no, this he's in a wheelchair, and goes, "Look, guy, listen, if you're not gonna buy anything, you got to leave. I'm closing up shop soon." And he begins to wheel Elijah out of the store.
Freaking great.
Elijah, he has like this extended metal brace on his leg, and he uses it to divert the wheelchair to knock comic books off the shelf. He does it like 2 or 3 times, and the last time he does it, the guy's like, "Look, I'm calling the cops." As the guy goes to pick up the phone, Elijah picks up a comic book. It's Century Man, and of course, Century Man, it reminds him of something here that he didn't realize until this moment.
Yeah.
And he asked the guy how much for this comic book, so it implies that he does in fact pay for a comic book.
Yeah.
And then we go to another interesting part of the movie. It's the first date scene where David and Audrey have their first date. Of course, it's not actually their first date, but they're trying to start over again.
Right. So
trying to make things work out, and so they have this date, and they begin to ask first date questions. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite song? Things like that. Audrey's favorite song, something interesting. It was a song by Prince. It was called like Wet Sex or something like. I forget what it was called. Got to look at my Prince catalog again. But it wasn't like one of the more well known, like highly regarded Prince songs like Purple Rain or
Give me a second,
or Little Red Corvette or any of those. It was a nasty sounding Prince song. That was her favorite.
Give me a second. I'm trying to load it up here. Internet's acting funny on me. Yeah, never mind. We will not know.
No, we will not know.
I was going to say, this is the name.
Yeah. Well,
it was Colorful Masturbations.
Yeah, that's right.
It was Spanking the Monkey.
Yeah, it was Slapping the Salami by Prince.
Could you imagine? Anyways.
Oh, shit. Yeah, but anyways, moving on here. She asked David, because they're asking first date questions, but then things get kind of deep, and she asked David, when did you first think that we weren't going to work out? And he goes, the first moment I knew was when I had a nightmare, and I woke up, and I didn't wake you up to tell me that everything's going to be okay. And she goes, oh, okay, well,
That's a kind of a deep moment.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's not like it was after this fight. That was actually like a calculated moment.
Right, yeah. It was something that stuck out to him.
Like he didn't seek her help. He just...
Right.
He said, "Oh, it's more worthwhile to me to just be quiet about it."
Exactly. Yeah.
Sad.
It is. Yeah, and then she asked him, so what do you think is wrong here? And she begins to assume that he's not happy. David normally keeps his family at a distance, and he says that sometimes something just doesn't feel right. Like something's missing, and she goes, after the wreck that we had in college, you didn't have to, get married and settle down and have a kid, but that's what you did. You could have done other things. I don't want you to feel like we're holding you back, and it is kind of a deep thing that's masked in realism, because like you said earlier, there's a lot of people out there who feel like that, because when you're 20 and you feel invincible and the road is at your fingertips and you can do whatever the hell you want to do, and then suddenly, you wake up, 15, 20 years later, and, you realize that, shit, like, I didn't do those things. Like,
right.
And then you start to question, your reality, start to question your meaning. And, I mean, that happens to a lot of people, a lot of married people, men and women, they...
Hence, a lot of people go through what that common phrase is: midlife crisis.
Yeah. Midlife crisis and divorces, constant nasty shit. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. But it's when they get home that there's two voicemails. The first one is the guy from New York calling David back, saying that he has the job. And at this point, the wife gets a little upset. She's like, I completely understand if you want to move to New York to take the job. It's a better paying gig. And she's like,
I can't remember what was the job in. Do you remember?
No, I don't think they ever said. Yeah, I think it's not.
You're gonna be security guard for us.
Yeah, that's where my mind always went to.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know what it was for. He's gonna be a Broadway singer.
I just had a dark joke. I'll tell it to you later. I can't share it here.
Damn,
I'd hate myself.
Shit.
Yeah.
That must be really dark.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But then he doesn't say anything to Audrey, which was interesting. He doesn't say, yeah, I'm sorry, but I got to take the job. And he also doesn't say, no, I want to give us a shot here. He doesn't say anything.
Right.
And when she walks away, he plays the next voicemail. And it's a voicemail from Elijah, and Elijah's saying, David, I can't believe, but it just hit me now. I was reading Century Man issue, blah, blah, blah. And in this issue, there's the coalition of evil, and they've captured Century Man, and they're trying to exploit his weakness. And then it hit me. Every hero has at least one weakness. For everything that you can do, you're the opposite of me. You have really strong bones. Spine break really easy. You can do this and I can't do that. And he goes, but water, if both of us get waters in our lungs, we'll drown. He goes, that's your weakness. Your weakness is water. And he goes, which
is a hell of a weakness. Like, damn, man.
Yeah.
I mean, with Achilles, it was only his heel, but you have all of water? Come on, man.
Well, it's not like he can't take a shower or brush his teeth.
Right, yeah, true. It's not like the side of it's like, it's not like the Wicked Witch in the West. Yeah, but it's like, oh, water. That's such like a common element. Yeah, but that's That was just my thought at that point in the movie. Like, oh, water? Man, I'd hate it if that was my weakness.
I mean, because like the way that it's portrayed makes sense, you know. I mean, because like a lot of people say they have that weakness.
He always drinks his water through a straw. Controlled sips. I'm done.
Shit.
Anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, it's at that moment after he receives that voicemail, he goes to like this garage type area where they have like the wreckage and remains of the train that crashed, and he looks at all the chaos, and he doesn't say anything, but this scene tells me that David's thinking, I'll survive this shit. Like there's something going on with me.
Yeah.
My wife was right. I am missing something from my life. What the hell is going on? And he also has the flashback scene as well. This is where we get the full scene of the car wreck that he was in when he was in college.
And finally, we see the rest of those pieces of the puzzle just falling into place.
Exactly. We see the rest of the puzzle fall into place here. We don't see the wreck still, but we see David. He immediately gets out of the car. The car's upside down, and I think it's even on fire. Audrey, she's trapped in it, and she's unconscious. We see David reach to the door, and he pulls this door back off. Like, we're not talking about like an open door. We're talking about like a pried shut door. He grabs the opposite end of it and pries the door open, like with his bare hands, takes a metal door and just peels it off like a banana peel.
Yeah.
And then
like a daggum tuna can.
Yeah. And then he gets Audrey out of there, and at that moment he sees a truck coming up, and he weighs the truck down, and the driver gets out, and he goes, is she okay? And David goes, no, I think she's hurt. And then the driver looks at David and goes, are you okay? And he pauses and looks at the driver, and then we come back to present day. So we see this guy do something really impressive. And what I love about this scene also is that, once again, it's still grounded in realism. Because how many feats have you heard about when, you know, this child trapped under a car and the mom somehow has the strength to lift it up? You know,
I mean, that's one of the famous ones we hear about often.
Right,
like, the mother that saved her child.
Yeah.
Like that.
Right.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know?
And so, you know, like, it could be chalked up. I mean, maybe all these years, David convinced himself that, you know, that's what that was, a burst of adrenaline, and I was able to, and maybe the doors,
do some incredible things.
Yeah. Maybe the door shell was loose. Maybe, you know, some components have fallen off of it, and I was able to pry it open. You know, he could have said something like that. Who knows? So we really see what happens here. And then the next scene we get, he immediately calls Elijah back and goes, what should I do? And Elijah tells him, you go to where people are. And he goes, this next part is going to be different. This isn't like a comic book now. This isn't contained to frames and panels of drawn pictures. This is reality. This is now real life. And he goes to real life, and he goes to like a plaza where like a bunch of people come in and out
it
of.
was the train plaza.
Yeah. And he puts on this green poncho as he goes out in this train plaza, and he stands there with like his hands kind of out at his side, because it's really where he gets to touch people, when he's able to see like a lot of the messed up shit that people have done.
The accurate instincts that we see, or intuition.
The extrasensory perception that he has. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
There's the term.
Yeah. And you know, he touches one person, and he sees this lady stealing jewelry from a jewelry store. He brushes up against like this guy who drove by and like smacked a lady on the sidewalk with a beer bottle. He sees the third guy who like rapes an unconscious woman.
Yeah, that was the college student.
Yeah. And then the last guy he sees,
piece of crap.
Yeah, seriously, all these people. And then the fourth guy he brushes up against was this janitor in a red jumpsuit. And he sees this janitor in this vision. He sees this janitor going up to this guy's house, knocking on the door. And a guy answers the door, and he goes, yes, can I help you? And the janitor goes, this is a nice home you have here. And the guy, you know, he starts to freak out, which is understandable.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, I don't know who you are. Get the hell off my property. And the janitor overpowers the guy and kills him. And And Bruce is like, oh shit, I really have to go after this guy. And
this is the one.
Yep. And so he follows the janitor back to the home that he invaded and took over, and he sees the wife. She's been killed, tied up, and he also goes and he finds the children. There's a little boy and a little girl. They're both alive. He unties them and saves them, and then he stealthily walks out onto the balcony. It's like a two-story house. And he walks onto the balcony looking for this janitor guy. And the psycho janitor, as I call him, comes out of nowhere and pushes him over the balcony. And of course, it'd have been much better, I think, if he landed on pure cement.
Exactly.
But no, he lands in a pool. And the pool has a tarp over it. And of course, the tarp wraps around him in the pool, and it's like, oh shit.
I mean, someone whose weakness isn't water would have had a hard time in that.
Yeah. And to top it all off, it's raining too.
Exactly. That green poncho ain't doing shit.
Ain't doing a damn thing for him right now.
Yeah.
And so he's under there for a while, struggling, trying to get out, but he's getting more and more tangled in this tarp. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he sees this pole come in the water. He grabs the pole and he's able to pull himself up, and it's the children that have saved his life.
Yeah.
So the children that he just saved in turn have saved him. He then goes back inside the house, and he sneaks up on the psycho janitor and strangles his ass probably to death.
Yeah.
And it's a confrontation, all right, because he puts the choke hold on him, like the sleeper hold, and then the janitor, he's fighting hard for a while.
Yeah.
But he even slams David up against the wall so hard that they put like a giant crevice in it.
Yeah, no, they break that sheetrock. Yeah.
Oh
it's
yeah.
gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so they tussle, but David never breaks his grip, strangles the guy. This guy either passes out or he dies. One of the two. Well, I don't know. So when he lets go, the guy ain't moving. The wife is dead, but she's still tied up to like the water heater. And he unties her, and her limp body falls over to the ground. And he leaves, and he goes home. When he goes home, he doesn't go to his room. He goes inside their bedroom.
Yeah.
And he lays down next to his wife, and then the two, they cuddle and kind of have a moment with one another. And the next morning, when he wakes up, he and his wife, they're all buddy and then having a good time with one another. And Joseph walks into the room, and Joseph, he's still having a hard time since the incident with the gun.
Right.
And Joseph, he sits down at the table, and David has the paper, the newspaper, and he goes to a certain page, and he puts the paper down in front of Joseph, and he points to a certain article, and the article it shows a sketch of a man in a poncho, and the article reads something like. Hero saves 2 children, wife and husband, unfortunately found dead. And Joseph looks at that, and then he looks up at David, his dad, and he doesn't see anything, but he's like, "Is that you?" And then David goes, "Yeah, that was me." He kind of whispers it, and then Joseph, he starts to smile and kind of cry, and the two kind of have a really cool moment right there.
A really silent moment too, because it was just. Between these two.
Just between those two, like Audrey, she's making French toast.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what's going on between those two. It's kind of funny because as those two having that moment, she says to David, "Yeah, I think that if Elijah comes around, we should call the cops."
Yeah.
But as those two are having this moment, and I thought that was one of the best moments of the movie to me was this kid realizing that. Yeah, my dad's a hero, and then David being like, "Yeah, kid, I'm a hero."
Yeah,
like
if I was the kid, just then get my daggum French toast out. I was right. I would have shot your ass, Joseph. I said it, and I meant it.
Matter of fact, where's that goddamn gun at?
I still know where you keep them bullets. I saw you put the new hat in place. Oh, damn.
Oh, shit.
I know, right? Okay. Poor Joseph's character, man.
Okay. Moving on, we get the glorious art exhibit scene. So it's been it's now been 2 weeks, and it's time for their art exhibit. And there's a ton of people in there. Business is booming for Elijah. David goes in and he approaches Elijah's mother, and the two start to talk and have a really good conversation. It's at this point where we as an audience still at a high from that scene we just saw, from David realizing that there is something about him that's special. You know, he just saved these kids' lives and strangled the psycho janitor. He just had this cool moment with his son, and now he's talking with Elijah's mother, and Elijah's having a really successful art display here.
Yeah,
it's going well.
He's making bank.
Yeah, making bank. Ton of people in there, and Elijah's mother, she's talking to David, and she's explaining some things that Elijah told her about these characters, and she goes, "You see how the villain's eyes are bigger than the heroes? That's to show us how the villain has a different perspective on things, how he sees more than maybe the hero does at times."
Which is a damn good line. It's like, Mother, you made a comeback at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You got a good one up in there still. Well said.
And she goes to say how it can be also a scary thing, and David goes, "Well, it doesn't really look that scary to me." And the mother goes, "Well, that's what I said." But then Elijah explained to me how there's usually two types of villains. There's the soldier villain who uses his strength and his brawn to overcome the hero. And then there's the intelligent villain, the villain who fights the hero with his mind. And then she goes on to say, I'm really proud of Elijah. He's gone through a lot in his life. He's had a lot of struggles. And David goes, "Yeah, you're right. Elijah's a miracle." And she goes, "Yeah, he is." And then she goes, "Let me go get him for you." And so after this, David and Elijah, they go into the back of the store where his own little personal quarters is at. And at this point, Elijah already has the paper in his hand. He looks at it and he smiles. And we see this smile. This is a different smile from the other ones he's had. It's like a smile of, like, "You did it, man." Like, it's a really comforting smile. And he looks at the paper, and the two really don't have to say much about it. They both know what happened here. And he puts the paper down and he goes, "You did it." And then at this point, David goes, "Well, what's next?" And Elijah goes, "Well, this is the part where we shake hands." And
he finally takes off the glove, and
actually, he doesn't even take off the glove.
No, okay.
Yeah. They shake hands. Well, actually, before they shake hands, he asks David. He goes, "Is it still there, David? The sadness when you wake up in the morning? Did you feel it?" And David goes, "No, didn't feel it this morning." Yeah. And then he says, "I think this is the part where we shake hands." And as the two shake hands, David sees three very distinct, very terrible visions. The first one he sees is Elijah sitting in an airport, and you hear an explosion, and there's a plane exploding, and people rush to the window to see the carnage. Elijah calmly stands up and walks away. The second one is when he's sitting at a bar talking to some old timer, and the old timer's explaining how this hotel that he works at, if the fire were able to catch between floors 1 and 4, that the whole building would just come down. And then the last vision we see is Elijah leaving the train conductor station, leaving the train, the very same train that David was on. And it's at that point where David comes back to, and he's like, you killed all those people. That was you. Mm-hmm.
And the music here is picking up, and it's intensifying, and it's
at this point where
it's a huge reveal.
Yeah, it's at this point where both David and us as the viewers realize what has happened.
Your eyes are more open than that villain. You're just like, what?
Right. Yeah. And David he's appropriately speechless almost. Like because what do you say? Like, this person, because at this point they even said to each other that they're friends. I mean, because they just went through this whole ordeal together. And it's at this point where Elijah goes, "Do you know what the scariest thing is? To not know your place in this world. To not know why you're here. It's just an awful feeling. I almost gave up hope. There were so many sacrifices just to find you. Now that you know who you are, I know who I am. I should have known way back when because of the kids.
Yeah. And at this point, David's already walking away, stone-faced, just still in shock after this reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Samuel Jackson's character continues to say,
they called me Mr. Glass.
Oh, man, I love that shit. And at that moment, I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I was throwing pillows off the couch. It was just like, what? That's the perfect name. Holy shit. What the, he's the villain.
Yeah.
The arch nemesis of all villains. Yes.
Yeah, and this was such a great scene, and as David's walking away, he's saying other things in between that, but those are some of the biggest, juiciest things that he said in that scene. But he also says some things along the lines of, this is how it starts in the comics, David. A lot of times the hero and the villain, they're complete opposites, just like you and I. And he goes, and also they start off as friends, and it's just such a great reveal because it's one of those things, just like in The Sixth Sense, where once you get the reveal, you're like, I should have seen that coming, but I didn't. It's the same thing here. It's like, I should have seen this shit coming.
Like, they gave me every piece I needed to. They gave me everything. I just couldn't see the whole picture until that line.
Until that moment.
It was so well done. Oh my gosh. That whole moment was just like the biggest explosion for me. Yeah. And it was probably the biggest reveal I've ever seen in a comic book movie.
I was going to say, like, this is one of the biggest reveals I've seen in movies, period.
Yes. That's still fitting. Yeah. It is. And it's just so blown back by this that you forget to breathe between the steps Bruce Willis's David Doom is taking up the ramp and out of the daggum art gallery.
Oh my gosh, it's such an intense scene, not just because of the dialogue, not just because of the story that's being told, but because of the actors, man. All throughout, these two actors, Bruce and Sam, do such a good job of playing off one another and of portraying these characters, of knowing who these characters are and when to reveal what about themselves.
And then actually continuing on from that and the earlier question you asked, the intentions behind, Mr. Glass's stuff here. He said it in that monologue, in that short little summarizing phrase, where it's like, now you're here, we found you, and I know I'm not a mistake.
I know
that was the purpose. That was it, and that was a beautiful purpose. It's like, well, that's justified. Your actions definitely are not. But
like I said, so many sacrifices just to find you, just to find someone who showed him his own identity. Like he says after that, now that I know who you are, I know who I am. And that's what he's been searching for this whole time, this whole movie. Both of these guys are trying to find purpose. That's the whole point of this whole movie. They're trying to figure out who they are and their place in this world. And now, according to Elijah, he thinks he knows his. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. Maybe Elijah's right. Maybe Elijah was meant to be the villain, and David was always meant to be the hero.
I most definitely think so. Yeah. But that's the thing. Even now, I'm debating to myself, like, what the hell do you call Elijah? What is Mr. Glass? He's a villain, sure, but is he a criminal mastermind? Is he mad?
Is
like what
even as David looked around after the reveal happened, and we see like these explosive paraphernalia all around, and we see books on chemistry,
the clippings from the newspapers,
from all these other accidents,
and even some of the chemistry freaking resources, like that's a half-made bomb.
We see all that shit. And then, Elijah, he accepts it because he now knows his place. He knows who he is now. He goes, I'm meant to be your villain.
And thus David has his purpose too, continuing from this adventure.
Right. And, so we get some words come up on the screen that tell us that David went to the authorities and Elijah was arrested on 3 counts of terrorism. And sentenced to a mental institution for the criminally insane. So he went to Arkham. And
Yep. Where he and the Joker met, and he's like, that's a nice suit.
I
like your purple.
I like your purple.
Yeah.
But I remember when I watched it with you a couple months ago, I was afraid that during the talk between Elijah's mother and David that you would prematurely get the ending, because like when you watch it again, like it becomes so much clearer.
It really does. But at that point, it makes sense why she had the purpose of telling our boy David about
the villain,
the eyes,
about the eyes, and about the two different types of villains,
exactly, and the perspectives, which is more important.
Yeah,
It's so well wrapped up.
Yeah,
and you're just like, what other question do I have now? Like, shit.
Yeah. But it's like, so you get that final tidbit of information before we get the final big reveal. And it was just so well executed. I mean,
kudos to you, Shyamalan. Well daggum done.
Well done indeed. Like, goddamn, it was like the perfect ending to a damn great movie. So, like I said, at the beginning of this podcast, I had two questions for you.
Okay.
One of the questions was like, what do you think their struggles were? And the second question that I was saving for now was, what parallels do you think they have to traditional comic book heroes and villains?
Okay, that's two questions at once. We're gonna pause one of them. Which one do you want to talk about first? Because I cannot think about both answers right now. I gotta take one at a time.
There was just one question.
Oh, I thought you meant there were two. Okay.
No.
Yeah. Well, okay.
No. Yeah, that's it. The one I asked at the beginning of the podcast, and I was saving for now.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking about the one that you said at the beginning of the podcast again. Damn.
No.
Okay. The parallels. Then let's go into that.
Yeah.
So, David's character first. With him, I see a man who has a new opportunity in life, like a lot of these heroes. Peter Parker was a nerd until he got his powers. Then he was a super-powered nerd, with the ability to go out and do something more. Same with freaking a number of them, dude. There's so many that actually, after procuring their powers, after finishing their origin and gaining their new abilities, that they have picked up not only this change of life, not only filling these holes that, as we learn throughout these individual character stories, were also existing in their lives, such as David's. But we also see this great development of character. This person who started out as a humble nobody, this person who started out as a young child in a dark alley, or, an adopted boy on a freaking farmstead.
Yeah.
These people that start off so randomly, all of a sudden becoming these great individual powers.
Yeah.
Same thing with David here, but as Elijah said much earlier, on a less dramatized and on a less, exaggerated stage. He started out humbly thinking, no, that's not what I can't be a hero.
Yeah.
That's not who I am.
Yeah, I don't have superpowers. Yeah.
Yeah, but then eventually falling into that place. And that's a huge parallel that's happening here. He realizes that he's good at saving.
Yeah.
And he realizes also that was the whole filling thing in his life. That was what was missing. The purpose of doing what I'm sure, and you can define this as you want, listeners, please, by all means, whatever your philosophy is. But that's something that he was destined to do, and that's one huge parallel right there.
Right.
Another, he does have an unconventional weakness. It's not something minuscule that's going to be so hard to take advantage of. It's something that is a pretty damn big deal.
Right.
Like Kryptonite to Superman, he is critically down for the count. You put Kryptonite in that bad boy, you've defeated him. He's done.
He's done.
He's done.
Yeah.
You put water all around, the green hood.
Yeah. The green hood. The green poncho.
The green poncho.
Security Century. I don't know what you want.
I don't know. Yeah. But no. Then he's down for the count. There's definitely the parallelism of just the factors that make a hero, and that's why I see a list of those between David and our other comic heroes fill in the blank.
Yeah. I agree too, because just like you said, when I was thinking about the parallels, I thought about, there was young Clark Kent who was trying to find his purpose. There was Bruce Wayne who was trying to find a sense of justice in this world. There's Hal Jordan who's trying to find a way to overcome his fear. there's so many heroes out there. I don't know why I chose all DC.
I know, right?
There's so many heroes.
I at least said Spider-Man.
There's so many heroes out there who are trying to find their place in the world, and that's exactly what David was trying to do. He just didn't know it.
Yeah.
He didn't know what that void was, but he realized he needed to fill it. But what do you think the parallels are though for Elijah?
Oh man, so one quote that I loved in this movie that has reflected, to other things that we've talked about in past podcasts and also in other conversations outside of the mics. Every villain, let me correctly start here. Every villain doesn't start off evil and maniacal and, jaded or anything like that. They start off with a mindset that, hey, this is what my situation is, this is what this is, or that, whatever have you for each individual villain. But it also starts off with, this is how I'm going to correct the wrong in my life. This is what's wrong in my life, and this isn't fair. This isn't good. Magneto's great case. Oh, this Holocaust. This is showing me a dark side of humanity. Humanity can be messed up. Life isn't all giggles and rainbows.
Right.
Now, the execution of that idea is what makes them a damn villain. Like,
the tragic backstory, man.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's it. That's the great title. That's the tragic joke even, Now, the parallel that I see going specifically into Elijah and other villains, Elijah had this great mentality. He had the idea that, no, I'm not a mistake. I refuse to believe that. He had the adamant resolve to know, to believe, to continue hoping even that wasn't who he was.
Yeah.
He wasn't a department store baby. Right. He was supposed to be someone better and greater, and he was obviously from his mind and his talents.
Yeah, he was obviously a brilliant man.
Yes, exactly. No, it was his execution of following through with that resolve, of trying to fulfill that hope that made him into this criminal mastermind, into this, this 3-act terrorist of sort, this, multi-acting terrorist, better, easier said. Yeah. Now, he and other villains in particular, they've had the tragic backstory. They had the thing that happened to them which was wrong, which was unfair, unjust, and it's not even debatable. It shouldn't have happened, and we're sorry for that. And it's happened to so many villains in the in any comic book story, Marvel or DC. But again, it's their choice of action after that idea, after that injustice, that makes them the villain, the wrong, the person that has to be stopped. And that is exactly what Elijah is. And he's so well daggone awesome. Yeah. Because it's real. It's shit that, I don't want to say this too much because I don't want to,
inspire any supervillains.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's too easy to do in real life, you know? How many times has it actually been done outside of these walls, outside of this country?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, that's another thing. Like, it's because the thing about this movie as a whole is that it is still grounded in reality. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think about it, everything that happened in this movie, I feel like could have, besides the fact that of David touching people and then being able to see.
Right.
But I feel like if you take that part out, everything else is plausible. Mm-hmm. Everything else is plausible. Yeah. Everything else can happen.
Very much
in
so.
reality. Yeah. I mean, I see no reason why it couldn't.
I see no reason why there can't be a Mr. Glass.
Yeah, or someone like David who,
right.
Like I said, without the sensory perception.
Right, and hopefully without the weakness to water of such a degree.
Well, I mean, there are people like that who do.
That's so true.
Like I said, that part's plausible.
Yeah. Sucks for them.
Yeah, but and so that really does, and that's one thing that really just makes this movie stand out above so many others. Mm-hmm. Is that there really aren't any colorful outfits. There are not any exaggerated powers. We don't see invisibility or supervision or flight or
or lasers,
or any. Or a super exaggerated version of strength, we don't see like a Hulk level strength.
Or speed even.
Or super speed. No one's running faster than the speed of sound. No. Yeah. We see a lot of things that are grounded. And that's something that I really appreciated about this movie, is that they're able to take this movie and base it in realism and then give us this amazing reveal at the end that makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. I mean, because I don't have that bone disease that Elijah has. But
no.
if I did have that disease, and if I had his brain, that intelligent brain, I mean, I can never say that I would never do that. I've never been in that position.
Exactly. None of us have.
Yeah. And I just think that just like every other villain as well, that he believes that what he's done, he has a reason for doing.
I mean, he said it himself. They were sacrifices.
Yeah. Just to find you. Yeah. Man, this is still one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just an all around great movie. And if you listen to this podcast and you stuck around to the end here and you still haven't seen the movie, I mean, I guess good for you. But now,
to a degree, but go watch the movie.
Go watch the movie. Damn it. Do you have any closing comments on this one, Kevin?
There was one more comparison, one more parallelism I wanted to share. One that was also so carefully done, not just in the sake of telling the story, but also in the sake of Elijah as a character.
Right.
They really were good friends.
They were.
Yeah. They had a rocky start.
They had a rocky start, yeah. But they really did become friends. I mean, think about it. Charles and Magneto.
Oh, yeah. They played chess together.
Yeah. Sue Storm and Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
I mean, there really are a lot of Harry Osborn and Peter Parker.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of examples out there that you can pull from. And, the way that this happened, though, like, once again, like, it's one of those stories where you feel like you should have seen it coming, but you don't, because you're so unraveled and trapped inside the story and learning as you go, learning with David as we progress.
Yeah. And it's so sad because all of a sudden you see and you trust in this friendship, and even though comic books of our modern age and whatnot don't really share that side with us often, or even in the same format as this movie did, whereas they start off as strangers, thus become best friends, thus now they're complete rivals.
Yeah.
That format's maybe not reflected in every story, but the same outcome still happens in so many of our powerful villain and hero relations. And it's so well done here in this movie too. I just wanted to say that right there again, because obviously David was torn at the end.
Yeah. He couldn't believe that the same guy who helped him discover who he was behind all this terror.
Yeah.
All right. So one more question, Kevin. I feel like we wouldn't be doing this particular podcast episode justice if we didn't mention Split and the upcoming Glass.
Yeah, we have to talk about that a little bit. So Split, I refused to watch that until I watched Unbreakable because I heard rumor, through the grapevine and everything, that Split was going to be the sequel to Unbreakable.
Well, I wouldn't call it. I say the spiritual successor is what I refer to it as.
Okay, well that's a cool technical term. Yes, I like that. But what did you call the trilogy, or the quote unquote trilogy earlier? It was the Railroad something.
East Railroad 177.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, but I heard that was the movie supposedly following Unbreakable. So I watched that one. Then I watched Split. Split blew me away. Like,
Split was also great.
I'm gonna make the same damn joke again I made with you in private. James McAvoy could literally just take a DVD of that movie and just go to any acting gig, any job interview, and just be like, drop on the desk, push towards the boss, and say, "Call me when you finished it, and call me when I got the job." Enough said. That movie is his every.
Now Split itself probably is maybe if this podcast does well, we'll probably cover Split sometime down the line.
Yeah, I see that being fitting. Yeah.
Just because it does follow as part of the this newfound trilogy, but I particularly wanted to talk about the end here in relation to Unbreakable.
Right, that is definitely something that needs to be brought up. In the very end of the movie, if you have seen Split, awesome. If you haven't, go watch it. In the very end of Split, you see the news of what happened in this movie, of what happened with this deranged mind of James McAvoy's character. And it's in the news and it's spreading out. And in this particular diner, you see a bald gentleman sitting at the counter.
Right. Well, see, I love it because like they're panning down, looking at the news, and there's a couple of people sitting at this diner here, and then this
couple of girls,
and then this one woman says, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible." This reminds me of the one incident that happened some time ago,
12 years ago.
Yeah, 12 years ago with what was his name? And then we see Bruce Willis, who says, "Mr. Glass,"
and he hasn't forgotten, and oh man, it made me so excited.
And then the music also kicked in. The same music from Unbreakable, that same amazing score kicked in.
Yep.
Oh my god!
And now we would be amiss if we didn't mention the cool fact I looked up earlier.
You got to mention that too.
Yeah. So guys, here's the thing: we accidentally found this out as we were recording this tonight, but we have to announce it to you guys. 1 year from now is the expected release date of the third spiritual something.
Yeah, spiritual successor.
Thank you. Yeah. Of the movie following Split and Unbreakable.
Yeah.
It's going to be called Glass, and oh my gosh, I cannot wait for that. And it's from 1 year from tonight.
Yeah, one year from tonight. We did not plan this out.
We did not, but it's naturally awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, by the time you hear this, guys, 1 year from today should be when Glass comes out. So that's pretty amazing too. Yeah, that's going to be awesome, man. A little piece of side news to go along with that. The same young actor that played Joseph is going to be in Glass.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's grown up some.
Yeah.
He must have like almost 20 years on him now.
Yeah, he's the actor is 30, so it's about right.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ooh, I wonder if he'll have a power.
Well, he damn sure didn't in Unbreakable. Well,
no.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, I think that it's time we wrap this one up. It has been,
unfortunately,
it's been incredible.
It has. And, this has been a very fun one for me. Yeah.
I think this is the part where we shake hands.
Come here, son.
Who sees what?
I know, right?
No, it's funny. We shake hands and we both see fucked up shit.
Yes. And we're both just like, so wait, you been a villain too, bro? Yeah.
Because I was going to say, who'd be the David and who'd be the Elijah?
I was just about to ask that, yeah.
We're both just Elijah.
It's like, well, you want to go be villains together? Hell yeah, okay.
Let's be villains. Oh, shit. But yeah, before we close out, guys, we appreciate you guys listening, as always. It's always appreciated. Be sure to check us out this coming Sunday, our podcast. We're going to actually do our review, or not a review, but we're going to give you guys our list for our top 5 favorite comic book based villains. Mm-hmm. So that's coming up. It's the spiritual successor to our top 5 favorite comic book heroes.
What do you know?
Yeah. And of course, next Wednesday, we'll be continuing our review of the Marvel Cinematic Universe by reviewing Iron Man 3. So you have that to look forward to as well. But we got a nice little lineup here, people, and we hope you enjoyed this one.
Heck yeah.
You know, as always, if you have any questions, comments, gifts, threats, food, supplies, then you know where to hit us up at superherohomies@gmail.com or the Facebook page, Superhero Homies.
Also, please don't be afraid to share any news of this with your friends, especially those that you know have enjoyed Unbreakable or any of the movies we've spoken about.
Yeah,
have them listen to the podcast.
Tell all your friends. Tell all your low-key supervillain friends. Tell your coworkers on your sick days.
Good callbacks.
Yep. Tell all your potentially interested friends and family about the cool new podcast you're listening to. And also, if you feel like what you hear, then, do us a favor and give us a review on iTunes. That also helps us out a lot. We're going to go ahead and close up shop here, guys. My name is Quentin.
I'm Kevin.
See you next time.